everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here today on the Mindful Mustelid podcast. We will be discussing loads of topics here. While I create ferret content on my platforms, I will also be delving into the pet food industry, biologically appropriate diets for carnivores, medical advances with ferrets, and so much more. Today, I'm going to start from the beginning. If you haven't heard of me and what I do, I'm a content creator and influencer. I started with a post I made on YouTube titled The Ultimate Ferret Care Guide 2019, but technically I've been creating content for years now. I'm a licensed makeup artist, so I have done tutorials, beauty blogs, and so on. I stopped doing that after working professionally in that industry for a few months. Working in beauty is incredibly difficult, and I found myself questioning the importance of it all after a while. Makeup was an art form to me, but not a necessity. I couldn't help but sit there in my chair and wonder what else I could be doing with my time. And I think many people in different careers can relate to that. And it's really hard to deal with that when you think of all these other things that you could be doing instead. I've been working with animals since a very young age, and I knew at the back of my mind that I would pursue a career with them. I've bounced around from animal job to animal job in the past few years, just enjoying life and working alongside the animals that I loved so much. And in the midst of it all, I had to sell my horse that I had been working with, and it wrecked me. It was so hard for me to deal with that. I felt like a failure. I felt like I failed him, and it was just an awful time. Horses are extremely expensive, and he had a lot of health issues. When I felt comfortable looking for another animal to add to my family, I came across the ferret. Bit of a size difference, but anyways, I always say that ferrets are a perfect blend of cat, dog, and a little bit of toddler. They have similar nutritional requirements and lifestyle needs of a cat, but they are dependent like a dog and love to play. They also have a tendency of troublemaking like toddlers do, and I absolutely adore them. They love to be held and cuddled. They give me kisses and so much comfort every single day. They are definitely a very misunderstood animal, and this will be one of the things we talk about on the podcast. So after doing my base research, I decided to get one, and at that time, I didn't realize that you could adopt or buy ferrets from reputable breeders. I only knew that you could get them at pet stores, so there I went and got Pazu and then Howl soon after. One of my goals with my channel and content is to push correct and up-to-date information for ferrets, and this was sparked because there is just so little information available on the origin of our ferrets here in North America and where they come from as far as the animal mills go. So a few months later, I traveled to a shelter to adopt Appa and Momo, and here we are. I started feeding a raw diet for my ferrets about a year ago. I had a trouble in the beginning getting all the facts and making little decisions and tweaks with the diet. It was super overwhelming for me at first. I had some guidance from other raw feeders, which helped tremendously, and without them, I would have definitely given up. Ferrets imprint on their food, meaning anything else you offer them is treated like poison by them. They don't recognize anything else as food, so they generally are not an animal that eats anything you hand to them, like a dog. Transitioning them to raw can be a long and very tedious process, and that is why, after assisting many new owners over to raw, I decided to create the Pazuandfriends mentoring program. The mentoring program helps transition ferrets onto a natural and balanced raw diet. So far, I have helped over 30 ferrets transition and more every single week. I coach my students every step of the way and afterwards. It's a chapter-based program, and at the end, I help devise a balanced meal plan with you. I have had much success with the program, and I couldn't be more pleased with it. Throughout this time, I've really become passionate about pet food, not only for ferrets, but for domestic cats and dogs as well. It is just so fascinating to me. This industry is so massive, and there are so many problems that follow it, problems that are not commonly shared and things that you wouldn't know unless you looked into them. I want to make this information more readily available to pet owners, so with this podcast, not only will I discuss the needs of our obligate carnivores, but I will share news about the industry and things we should be watching out for, as well as positive reinforcement training methods and overall how we can better raise our pets holistically. I also will be discussing other members of the Mustelid family because although they are all different, it's helpful to note the similarities and how we can use our knowledge of other mustelids to better our relationships with our pet ferrets. Touching on what I mentioned before about raising pets holistically, what exactly does this mean? The term holistic has two different meanings. In philosophical terms, it means characterized by comprehension of the parts of something as intimately interconnected and explicable only by reference to the whole. Medically, it means characterized by the treatment of the whole person, taking into account mental and social factors rather than just the symptoms of a disease. We have something that is very interconnected and can only be understood when looking at the whole. This is what I think of when I see the word holistic. I also see it as doing things sort of outside the current norm, which is weird because traditionally these were things people were doing, but now we generally follow the ways of convenience, unfortunately. We feed our pets bags of processed foods, we baby them by overfeeding treats, and never allowing them to act like the animals that they are. Ferrets do not belong in a cage, horses don't belong in a stall. We keep animals the way it is convenient for us. To raise a pet holistically, I think a lot of people assume that means only relying on herbal remedies and never giving proper medical care when it is needed. To me, raising my pets holistically means raising them as close to the way nature intended for them to be, with the exception of keeping them outside all the time. Meaning, feeding them a species-appropriate diet, allowing adequate enrichment, and providing a free-range lifestyle. For example, with the ferret, ferrets were domesticated from the wild polecat. However, they are extremely identical in nature. A domesticated ferret may have a more docile personality, but they have the same nutritional requirements and biological makeup of their wild counterpart. They should be provided with a similar diet in order to maximize their full health potential. It is what nature intended. Additionally, ferrets are incredibly intelligent animals and get bored very easily when restricted to a single room in the home. Ferrets should be allowed access to multiple areas of the home with opportunities to burrow and explore dark places. Giving them long tubes and tunnels can help with this, as well as making dark and secure hiding spots for them. Providing a free-range lifestyle is also key to a happy and healthy ferret. Ferrets that display naughty or boredom behaviors very often just need more free-range time. Cage raging can also cause many issues in the ferret. It can damage their teeth, can lead to blanket chewing and aggression. Even though the ferret is now domesticated, they still have that same desire to explore and live a free life, not confined to a metal box for 20 hours in the day. This is why I recommend a minimum of 6 hours out of the cage every day. Even that number is small, so ideally you would shoot for 8 to 10, but complete free roam is the goal. It is more common in other areas of the world for ferrets to be bred better, fed raw, and allowed a more free-range lifestyle. Their ferrets tend to have an average lifespan of about 10 to 15 years. In the States, where these things are the opposite, our ferrets sadly only live about 6 to 8 years. I will discuss more on the wild ferret and how we can take what we know about them to apply to our family pets in the next episode of this podcast. So to finish off episode 1, I wanted to let you all know of an upcoming pet event. The Healthy Dog Expo is April 3rd to 4th in Albany, New York. They have many speakers, including Dr. Karen Becker, a veterinarian that promotes species-appropriate nutrition. The expo would not only benefit dog owners, but cat and ferrets as well. They will touch on the very same formulators and manufacturers that you may use for your pets, including your ferret. I find that a lot of holistic care information meant for dogs can also be utilized for other carnivores as well. That's why you may see me sharing raw dog food content and information on my platforms. It can all be used. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I will see you again very soon. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube for more content. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm sorry if it was a little short. I am still learning about what I want to talk about on the podcast, but anyways, I will see you in my next episode or my next video, whatever comes up first. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.